The only way we're going to settle this rhubarb is with an umpire, someone like Al Kaplon. And he's not just an umpire, he's a filmmaker and an actor. In fact, Amy Elliott caught up with Al in an unlikely place, on the set of an X-Files episode about baseball.
Go. Stop. Call it. Go. Stop. Call it. And that's the out call drill.
I was 13 or 14 years old. I was playing Pony League at the time. The umpire didn't show up for the game after mine. So I'm sitting there with my uniform undone and a snow cone in hand and cherry all over my face. And somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, the umpire didn't show up for game 2 over here on this field. Do you want to be an umpire?" 1977, I got in the Lone Star League. 1978, they promoted me to a league called the Northwest League. 1979, I got promoted to the California League. 1980, I got drafted to the Texas League. And then in 1982, I was drafted. My contract was bought by the Pacific Coast League. And I ended up spending about 4 or 5 years in the Pacific Coast League before I finally got released. And that was devastating. I knew I couldn't make it to the major leagues anymore, but I had to find some way of taking this training, taking what I was good at, and taking what I loved, and using it to make a living some way, shape, or form. And I always had an idea that I wish I had training videos when I was an umpire, when I was a young umpire, that I could actually look at what they're talking about. So it was a natural thing for me to get into filmmaking and want to make these umpire films. What more people asked me about than any other rule in baseball was balks. I think that's the most confusing. I think it's the most obscure rule sometimes in baseball. So I knew that would have a tremendous impact on whatever market I was dealing with.
The game is on. The pitcher trying to deceive. The runner trying to steal. The balk is the defining line between the rulings and realities of pitching.
How the title came about, See a Balk, Call a Balk, a very good friend of mine, a dear friend that unfortunately isn't with us anymore, John McSherry. At umpire school, he was an instructor, and every time the pitcher would balk and no umpire would call it, he would yell out, "Hey, see a balk, call a balk. Hey, see a balk, call a balk."
If the ball should slip out of the pitcher's hand and does not cross the foul line, guess what?
That's a buck. Time. The ball didn't cross the line. You? Second pitch.
Because I kind of like certain kind of music and certain kind of graphics, I might have developed a style as far as moving fast and you know, rock and roll music and keeping it entertaining. Because that's the only way that people can watch this tape over and over and over again, and that's the only way that you're going to learn from it. To watch any of these videos once or twice and think that you've absorbed all there is to get out information-wise, you're fooling yourself.